Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review, and today we are featuring Terror Claws Skeletor. It's from the Masters of the Universe Origins line. This is new for 2022. It's a deluxe action figure, so it comes on the larger card back. And so let's get started. First off, I love the illustration here of Skeletor. I think it looks great. It took me a while to warm up to the deluxe style packaging. I always felt that it looked kind of generic, but you know, it's a throwback to the toys we got in the 80s. And you know, I've kind of learned to live with it. And I'm really digging all the accessories we're getting here for Skeletor. You know, you get his staff, you get an extra grip hand. Of course, you get his terror claws, and then you get the crazy like skull weapon over here. On the back of the card, beautiful illustration. Skeletor attacks with his deadly terror claws in his quest to rule the entire universe. So that's awesome. I'm really hoping that in the future Mattel collects all the cool like card artwork and like concept designs and whatnot, and you know, they put together maybe some sort of art book, because a lot of the artwork they've been putting out for like the Origins and Revelation, I'm in love with it, and it'd be so great to have just like maybe like an omnibus collection of just the illustrations and the paintings, whatnot, because I think that's awesome. So here's some of the instructions for Terror Claws Skeletor. You can fit the claws onto the hands. You can turn the figure in either direction to swing the arms. The battle grip holds the one weapon, so on the back you can store the weapon. To swing the arms, there's like a kind of like a rigid tab above the waistline, so your thumb can grip it. The battle grip here, as I mentioned earlier, for weapon storage. And then here's the snapping skull weapon. Some other figures in this wave assortment include Flying Fist He-Man, the Sorceress, Terror Claws Skeletor, Buzz-Off, Stratos, and Jitsu. So I believe I reviewed most of these figures with the exception of Terror Claws and Flying Fist. So look out for Flying Fist. I have that figure and I'll do a review on that soon. Okay, so let's get started with Terror Claws Skeletor. Alright, this head was kind of stubborn. Alright, so we have the little comic book here. Let's get this into focus. This looks great. We have Flying Fist He-Man, some Horde Troopers, Under Siege. We have Grizzlor, which I'm looking forward to. And here, additional instructions. So this kind of maps out all the pieces of the figure that are removable and swappable. As you can see, his head detaches, as does his hands and his boots. Okay, so first impressions of Skeletor. It looks fantastic. So growing up, and even as a young adult, being a toy collector, I've always opted more towards the iconic look of like the characters. Like if this was like 20 years ago, I'd be more about Skeletor in his like traditional like armor and harnesses. But as I've gotten older, I've kind of learned to appreciate the more unique costume designs, and I'm really liking this chest plate and the purple like metallic finish. It just looks really cool. I like that a lot. And how does this... Alright, so this guy looks to be a little bit more complicated in terms of removing him from his package. There we go. Alright, so we have Terror Claws Skeletor. Here's the base figure. Accessory-wise, here's that skull weapon. It's like a snapping skull. We can look at that in a little bit. Whoops. We have his Terror Claws gloves. There's a nice pair of them here. We kind of got a sneak preview of something like a similar accessory in the Masters of the WWE line. I can't remember specifically which character had them, but there was another figure that had something very similar to this. We get the extra grip hand here. I might actually just swap that out now. I prefer the grip hand over the splayed out one. And then we get the alternate portrait. Let's do a side-by-side comparison. So as you can see, the alternate portrait, the mouth is slightly opened and his brows are kind of like furrowed. So it kind of looks a little bit more sinister. And of course, we have his staff with the ram skull attached on the top. So yeah, you get plenty of accessories with this guy. Well worth the value. And let's take a look at the figure. So much like other Masters figures, it seems like the articulation is going to be very standard. Head rotates. Doesn't really look down a whole lot. Arms, whoa, they click. I wasn't expecting that. Now I'm like... I always worry about this kind of stuff because I'm always worried I'm going to like break a spring or something. I want to get them back in a neutral position at the very least. Okay, yeah, so let's get that. Right, so this is where my OCD gets really nuts. Like for me, I kind of want to get the arms level with each other, but I don't think that's possible depending on how the gears are in this inside of his torso. Is that right? Yeah, it seems like you'll never get the arms level with one another. It seems like there's always going to be a slight offset. That's closer, I think. All right, I can live with that. So you could rotate the arms upwards, and as I pointed out earlier, you could rotate them like normal arms, but due to the gear mechanism inside, they can kind of like click into place. Elbows bend, wrist swivel, articulated waist. So, you know, that's for the Terror Claw motion, or if you just want to pretend he's dancing. Legs kick up, they kick out. Standard articulation for the most part. But like I said, you know, there is a difference with his waist mechanism. Here's that, like, rigid tab above his waistline. It seems kind of redundant because you do have the power grip here. And for me, it seems like it's easier just to take the grip and rotate versus this. It seems like, you know, this, your hand is going to get in the way of the arms versus just being able to, like, rotate this. So I kind of feel like this is unnecessary. Let's get his arms out just a little bit. And let's attach his Terror Claws. If I'm doing this correctly. I might have to grab the instructions again. So there's like a there's 2 tabs on the inside here, and those are going to snap around his wrists. All right, give me a moment. I think I'm doing this wrong. It's not as tight. Oh, there you go. So once you have them in place, as you can see here, and then it's a really cool play feature for your kid. You know, he can like mow through all his enemies, or if you want to pretend he's like trying to dig through a wall or going underground. That's really fun. And I'm also really keen about checking this out, the snapping skull weapon. Right, so since this guy, his arms like swing up and down, you take this, there's a peg right there, and that slots into the fist like so. And then as you swing around, it kind of flails around. I mean, this isn't like rocket science or anything like, you know, fancy. The engineering is very basic, but as you twist his waist, this thing will just flail around, and then the jaw will snap. It's nothing that's like spring-loaded or anything highly thought out. It's very clumsy, but, you know, it does what it's supposed to do. It looks kind of silly. In all honesty, you know, aesthetically, I wish they kind of like reduced the length of this, maybe by like 1 inch, because it's very kind of cumbersome. But it's a fun play feature. And there you go. There's that. So overall, it's a very solid Skeletor. If you want something a little bit different than your traditional Skeletor, I kind of dig this armor a lot. It's kind of weird because now that I'm staring at it long enough, it almost looks like he's wearing like a bikini top, because it has his belly exposed up there. But it's still a very, very well done figure. The attention to detail is very nice. It's very clean. It's very subtle. It's not overstated. The Terror Claw feature, I think, is fantastic. If I had to rate this figure on a scale of 1 to 10, for me, it's a easy, I would say 8.5 to a 9. You know, it does what it's supposed to do. It has a fun play feature if you're a kid. Accessory-wise, you're getting a lot of bang for your buck. The only thing that worries me is like every time I want to move his arms, it's gonna make that like unsettling, very like clicking noise, and I kind of worry if, you know, this is something that could easily break or you know, grind down over time. I'm very leery of the stuff that goes on with the internal mechanisms. Like my Roboto, it like broke the first day, and just because I was playing around with the gears and the arms. So for me, it's like this is a similar situation. I don't know how durable the arms are, especially if you have little ones who love playing with the toys. You know, they're going to want to move the arms around manually. They're not always going to rely on the twisty waist gimmick. But I think it's executed well. You know, there's a good range of motion when you rotate the waist. Alright, so I think that's all to be said about this figure. It's a wonderful toy, and it's a great addition to any Origins collection. So let's close this video off. Once again, my name is Lou. If you are new to my channel, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber or viewer, thank you so much for your continued likes, comments, and support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. Alright, later.